Welcome to the Movie Talk Show with Dave D.C. Kalari from DC Unboxed and from the Screenwriter's Room, the screenwriter himself, Rob Alvarenga. Now, here is your host, Joe Zapata.
What's up, guys? Joe Zapata here. I'm here with my man, Dave Kalari and Rob Alvarenga. What's up, guys?
Howdy, sirs. How are you?
What's up? Right. We got a great week going on. We're going to talk a little John Rambo, a little Michael Jackson, and the Daredevil season 2 trailer that debuted. Yeah, I was going to actually send a picture in here of me when I was 10 years old wearing a Beat It jacket.
Yes,
I was a Michael Jackson fan. I got to admit that. So
listen, for a long time, for a long time, there weren't a lot of people who weren't.
Yes.
Yeah.
100%. 100%. But first, I'd like to actually start off. Last week we actually lost Catherine O'Hara. She actually passed away. What?
That's such a great picture.
Yeah, Catherine O'Hara. She passed away. I think it was Friday or Saturday last week. Beetlejuice, obviously Home Alone mom. She won an Emmy for Schitt's Creek, and she was in The Last of Us. Really sad news. It's like unbelievable that she passed away. She's only 71. I don't know what her illness was. Rob, I don't know if you want to touch on it first and everything. Catherine O'Hara, she was such a great actress. I don't know. Very sad to see she passed.
Very, very sad. She's she's one again. It's like we try not to use the word icon, a lot because it should be reserved for the most talented and most legendary of actors, of performers, and artists. But she's definitely one of them. I mean, seriously, look at her work, her history of her work. She is in a lot of movies, not just the ones that are like the ones that people remember. As far as like the Home Alone, the Beetlejuices, Schitt's Creek, the show, and stuff like that. I mean, she's been in cartoons. She's lent her voices everywhere. I definitely want to make sure that I put out there that people that hopefully remember the Christopher Guest movies, like Best in Show, that whole basically improv type of like cast that they had in those movies. She just did everything so effortlessly.
Yeah.
And then when you hear her, when she's like just interviewing, talking, just so sweet. Like it seems like she's just one of the sweetest people that you'd want to meet. But you could see like the artist, just like that energy. And I just hear that, she was just a joy to be around with. I was really saddened when I heard what Macaulay Culkin, said about her, referred to her as mom, and the last thing I'll say also is that I think in one of the most recent premieres that she was at, they asked her, like, of all the movies, of all the roles that you've ever played, in your life, what is one that you want to be remembered for forever? And she said, being a mom. I mean, that speaks a lot about who she is. She got it, and it's really sad. You're sad when these people that touched us so much in movies, but it's also sad when you realize just how special these people are, in real life.
Yeah, very sad. Dave, I know you heard the news too. I sent it to you too. What do you remember Catherine O'Hara? What great actress she was.
Well, when I saw Eugene Levy put his tribute up, he's like, I had the pleasure of working with her for like 50 years. So her body work goes way back before, and Rob's right. Like she did a lot of the Christopher Guest movies, stuff that really flew under the radar. But my mom's not a big movie person, but she loved all the Christopher Guest movies. She loved them so much. And the interesting thing is when, all these old clips are popping up of her in Home Alone. And of course, we saw the little touching tribute that Macaulay Culkin had written on social. She had this sweet motherly character that we all probably could identify with and be like, oh, my mother was just like that. Or some of the unfortunate ones, I wish my mother had been like that. And then she could turn on a dime and play the totally wacky Delia Deetz from Beetlejuice, not unlike the Moira Rose character from Schitt's Creek. So like she had range and you believed every character she did, and she was always funny. And, she just, everything she did was just top level. And I just saw a video of her one of her Emmy acceptance speeches where she did it as Moira Rose. It was hilarious. It's like, you would think most people would look at that and be like, what is this pretentious person doing? Like doing their weird character. But for her, it just made sense. It just made total sense.
Yep. Rest in peace. Also, I did want to mention real quick too, someone who was at the Chiller a lot, who also passed away, was he played Lamont on Sanford and Son.
Yes.
That was Densmond. What's his name? Densmond Wilson. And he was 79. He passed away. I've met him at Chiller like 2 or 3 times. He always went. Nice guy, as you know, Fred Sanford would say, the big dummy. Sad that he passed away too. He was also a nice guy when I've met him, and I love that Sanford and Son. You'll never see something like that again, but it was great. So
the big one is coming.
Yeah.
I'm coming with, well, rest in peace, Catherine and Lamont. Again, wish you and your family, best going through this hard time. The next thing I actually want to talk to is about John J. Rambo. Noah Centineo, who remember was in Black Adam as the Big Adam or Adam Smash, whatever he was.
Adam Smasher, yeah.
Yeah, Adam Smash. He's going to be playing John Rambo, and it's in pre-production now. Everything's getting set. They got the poster that just came out. And it's kind of hard picturing this role other than Sylvester Stallone, and I can accept other people playing other roles, but for some reason, Rambo, I can only picture Sylvester Stallone. Dave, what do you think about this guy, Noah Centineo, playing Rambo? They're going to do it, before when he was in the war and stuff. And you've mentioned it before. You said it'd be a good idea.
We talked about this months ago. Like, what could this possibly be? Where we get to see Rambo in the Vietnam War that gives us a glimpse into like what turned him into what he became. Now, the interesting thing is, I'd have to go back and rewatch the original Rambo. It's been a long time, but I get the feeling he becomes Rambo, like because of the things happening in that movie, not necessarily like the PTSD from being in Vietnam. I could be wrong. I don't know. I don't really think it matters who plays the character because, like you said, it's not like they didn't try to redo Rocky. They just made him another character. That's why we got Creed. So I don't know. It might be a little bit of an uphill battle. I don't know if I'm super interested in this. This is probably the only idea that makes sense. But I don't know if you can make it a really intriguing story that just doesn't turn into like some generic Vietnam movie.
Yeah, I know Sylvester Stallone does have a little hand in it. He's not going to be in it, obviously, but he does have a little part in helping direct some of the things, how they're going to go. So I think that might be pretty good. Rob, what do you think about Noah Centineo, being the new Rambo and the whole story going to be pre-Vietnam War,
I think the casting's fine. To Dave's point, it's it's going to be a different thing, and I will actually back you up on that because I've seen First Blood, I don't know how many times. That movie, I believe that is the true genesis of the Rambo that we remember, like, just blowing up helicopters in Afghanistan and just, going, balls to the wall action. The genesis is in that movie, First Blood, because, it's kind of like a return to what I guess he was trying to like get away from. Now that is the angle I'm interested in because I was reading a little bit about, what this movie could be as far as like story plot goes. I'm hopeful that they, for lack of better expression, go there. I think that what they're throwing out the words gritty, raw, type of like expressions, adjectives for this type of story. I hope what that means is that, John Rambo, whatever happens in Vietnam, which is like, very similar to a lot of like Vietnam vets and what they've gone through. It's like they go to a really dark place over there. Like they do something where it's like they're not proud of it. They can't believe that was them that actually did it, and maybe it was something for a good, but in order to do the good, you really had to do something really, really bad and nasty. And that's the vibe I got in the first Blood, that he was just not, he was not trying to be a superhero. He was not trying to be anything like that. It was what he's trying to do is just, just lead a normal life. Be left alone, really. And then he's pulled back into that dark place in First Blood. So I hope that is the tie-in that they're angling for in this movie. Because that I find interesting. I could see that as an interesting mark. And because of that angle, I like it that it's not, younger CGI Sly Stallone. I like that they
Mhm.
went, it's a brand new character, not brand new character, brand new actor playing this
Mhm.
role. I think the only way this thing works is that it's kind of like a standalone thing. It has to be a standalone thing. And yes, it's tied into the Rambo movies, but if it's a true, powerful story on its own, I think that's what's gonna, draw people to, more people to see the movie. Because I
Mhm.
agree, like it's not gonna be like a hit, first box office weekend. But if it's a movie like I'm thinking it could be, word of mouth, I think this could be a success.
I think so too. I think so. Well, we'll wait and see. I don't know when it's gonna. They didn't announce when it's gonna drop, but we'll wait and see what happens there. The next one is Michael. Jackson full trailer dropped. April 24th it debuts. Antoine Fuqua is directing it. I was a little bit when they said Jafar Jackson was related to Michael's nephew plays Michael. I was thought it was a little bit gimmicky, but then when I saw the trailer, I was like, wow, this is actually just like him. Looks really good. I was a huge Michael Jackson fan. I think everyone was. King of pop. He was the king without social media. He was the king of pop. He was one of the best around. I love his songs. I still listen to his songs. Thriller was, I mean, I still love it. Michael Jackson was the man. So, he was back then. Dave, I want to start with you. Did you see the trailer? What did you think about it? And do you think it's going to be a big hit?
I didn't get to see the full trailer. I saw the teaser at some point.
Mhm.
Listen, as a musician, like good songs are always good songs.
Mhm.
So it turns into one of those things. Can you remove the artist from the art? But I do, without delving too deep into it, I could have sworn that I've heard over the years that a lot of a lot of what was said about him ended up not being very true. So I don't know
Mhm.
like how any of that stuff ended up playing out. But the songs are still good. Like Michael
Mhm.
Jackson is still Michael Jackson, and I think a lot of people still give him that credit. I don't think casting his family as him is any different than when Ice Cube's son was in Straight Outta
Straight up.
Compton. You
That's
know,
true.
and I
Mhm.
think he was so good in that.
Mhm.
So I think it's hard. We talk about it all the time. It's hard to say if a movie is going to do great because what does great mean anymore?
Mhm.
I think it'll do fine. I think you got plenty of people who are still fans who would love to see a return to form, right? Because everything that's been said about him in the last 15-ish years has been jokes and like the end of his career rather than talking about the impact he had on the world of entertainment as going back as far as the Jackson 5, you know?
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
I'm interested to see this, and I think it'll do just fine. And listen, for everyone who says the Bohemian Rhapsody sucked, I think that was fine. And if this is better than that, then even better.
Bohemian Rhapsody almost made $1 billion. That
Yeah, like
you know.
I thought it was a good movie. I know there
Yeah,
was a
I
lot
think
of
so.
liberties taken with the timeline of things, but I don't know.
Yeah,
I thought
I
it
thought
was
it was great too. And if Michael can do as well as that, it'll be great. Don't people don't realize how big Michael Jackson was in the '80s. I mean, he was the king, without a doubt. Rob, you saw the trailer. What did you think of Michael?
I thought it was a very smart trailer because I'm gonna try and explain like that's how powerful Michael Jackson was. This trailer led with the music because, and I remember I remember this, distinctly when he passed away.
Hmm.
And obviously, I forget at what year, but I just remember where I was when he died. And you're like, for me, I'm like,
2009.
man, yeah. So it's like I
2009.
remember, I'm like, damn, that was a big influence. That's a big deal. Growing up, I mean, you heard Michael Jackson's music, and I was like, wow. In my mind, back in my mind, I'm like, wow, I don't think people are gonna realize what just happened. A true legend just passed away.
Yep.
But I remember very shortly after, younger kids, younger people in general, started kind of like digging into his music. And I
Hmm.
started seeing it online, and people I read comments were like, oh my God, I think I have yet to hear a song I do not like from Michael Jackson. Like it seemed like almost every single one of his songs felt like a hit. And, full circle with this trailer, when it starts like, hearing the Billie Jean theme, you're like, you just can't help it. You start moving. You're like, wow, this is, I remember this. I'm digging it. And it's like, I think that is key because his musical catalog, it's second to none. And that draws you into the artist. So talking, hear what David said about all the things about like what how he was made fun of or accused of whatever and stuff like that. Yeah, that's part of the story too. But the big part of the story, the most important part of the story, was his genius and his music. And I love that this trailer hits you with that right off the bat to draw you in. I hope it does well. I think Antoine Fuqua is a
Mhm.
fantastic director.
Correct.
Um, I think he's going to do a great job with this thing. I really hope it does well.
Yep, it's going to do well. Lionsgate, April 24th, it drops. So, I'm going to watch it. I think it's going to be pretty good. So, we'll wait and see. The big news, obviously.
I think there's a lot of young people. I think there's a lot of young people that if they're not really familiar with Michael Jackson, they'll be surprised at how many acts that are around today that wouldn't be what they are without the influence of Michael Jackson. Justin Timberlake's a perfect example.
Yeah,
100%.
exactly.
Bruno Mars to an extent. Like there's a lot of big time musicians now that would not be what they are if Michael had not done what he did.
Yeah, I mean,
Not just music, dance too. Dance. He was big influence with dance.
the moonwalk. Remember when he did the moonwalk?
Yeah,
Everyone
you can look at the moonwalk now and be like, oh, whatever, stupid. But like, go back to the first time he did it during the Grammys in what, like 83? The whole place
Blew everybody's mind.
Yeah, I remember I was doing the moonwalk and I had a glove. I had one glove too, man. I shoveled snow with one glove, and I'm Michael Jackson as a kid. I mean, I was, I was there, man. I was there. I loved it, man. So April 24th, it drops, and I think it's going to do well. The other big news, obviously, was Daredevil Born Again Season 2 trailer dropped, and it looked really, really good. Jessica Jones popped up. We had a lot of surprises. Kingpin in the boxing ring. I was like, what's going to happen here? Rob, I'm going to start with you. What do you think of the trailer? What do you expect to happen during this season?
I think I love that it feels like it's going to get really down and dirty.
Yes.
With a lot of themes that, I mean, especially I think it's timely to be quite honest. Let's recap. Kingpin Wilson Fisk is the mayor of New York City. He is controlling a secret police. So a rogue cops that basically is doling out his brand of justice and vengeance, just doing his dirty work.
Mhm.
And here's Daredevil pretty much by himself, looking to drum up his own army to take them on. And so we got to see a lot of action, a lot of cool Daredevil action happening with him sliding on the floor, throwing his, billy club all over the place. It's what we've come to expect when it comes to the fighting, scenes and all that stuff there. But what I noticed with this trailer also is that his secret police, and I forget the actual name that he gave it and stuff, but it seemed like there were like a lot of commercials, like they're laughing with that community, they're helping with the community and stuff like that. I just wonder if he's going to start using, propaganda to kind of like build up this image, like, I'm cleaning up New York City. Meanwhile, he's doing the complete opposite.
Mhm.
And you're gonna have like, really like people, the New Yorkers basically either rising up or even going against each other based on how they interpret what Kingpin is dishing out at them. And
Mhm.
here's Daredevil in the middle trying to like keep the fight going. I love that we got Jessica Jones. I really hope that we have some Luke Cage, showing up because you can't really have Jessica Jones without Luke Cage, my
Yeah.
opinion. I just think that there's a lot of stuff happening in season 2. I hope it doesn't get a little too much or heavy-handed. They haven't done that yet, but it just feels like this is going to be one of those seasons where you're going to be really uncomfortable at moments and really excited with the action scenes and sequences in the next.
Yep. And the Defenders have to be in it. I think the Defenders are showing up somewhere. Dave, what did you think of the season 2 trailer? And what are you expecting this season?
Well, who caught the quick frame of Matthew Lillard? So we know Quentin Tarantino's not looking forward to season 2.
Yep.
I think it looks great. This is also, aside from Loki, and I don't really count the What If series as anything. This is the only Marvel show that's gotten at least the Disney Marvel show that's gotten a second season. And this is we got this fast. It's literally exactly a year from when the last one came out. I think it looks great. It's interesting to see how much further we're diving into the comic book realm because, you know, we actually started rewatching Daredevil, the old Daredevil Netflix to catch up.
Okay.
So we only made it to like the second episode last night, but you know, when they're being shown, the realtor showing them where the office that they end up being in, they talk about, they reference the invasion of New York. And granted, because it was Netflix and whatever, it's just like they just reference it as the incident, and that they don't talk about anything else. So it's really cool to see how far we've come and how so close Daredevil is to being like in the mainline universe that we've come to know and love over the last decade.
Yep.
But also, I mean, to me, all that Kingpin stuff looks like glitches from the Spider-Verse movies. So, so where are we going? It should be very interesting. I almost don't care that Frank Castle's not going to be in this. So, could be a lot of interesting things happening.
All right. Well, yeah, I can't wait. That opens up when 2 months. We're 2 months away, I think.
March 26th.
March 26th. That's when it drops. So yes,
I like
coming
that.
really quick. So it's gonna be really good. So we're gonna be looking forward to that. All right, guys. We're gonna be answering the fan questions. You know, keep them coming in. Like and subscribe. We're on Rumble now. We're gonna be on Spotify and iTunes very shortly. So again, I'm gonna answer a bunch of these questions that came in. I appreciate it. Let's see what we got here. We got the first one is from Billy R. And he says, Wayne, New Jersey says, Dave, did you know the boots the GB guys wore were Korean 1995 jump boots? I have a pair. Did you know? I have no idea.
Yeah, Corcoran boots are full on paramilitary boots. Theirs were Vietnam era. I actually tried to find them when I was looking for my own boots, but I didn't have the patience to like search eBay for a 35, 40-year-old pair of boots. You have no idea what the condition is. So I just ended up searching what they wore in Frozen Empire, which is easy to find. So I got a brand new pair of boots. They're great. Okay,
perfect.
But but this guy's got a nice new pair. Also, I mean, a nice vintage pair. Awesome.
All right, I'll send him a message. See if he wants to sell it. Who knows? Ben R. from Ramsey, New Jersey. Did you guys see Wrecking Crew with Batista and Momoa? It was not bad. Yes, I actually saw that, and it actually was entertaining. I don't know if you guys saw it, but it was actually pretty good. Rob, did you guys see it at all? Wrecking Crew?
I didn't get to see it just yet. It's definitely queued up for it, but it's just I think the casting, you know, having those two guys on screen at the same time, it's like that's the price of admission right there. I mean, and for what I've seen so far, I like the chemistry between the two of them. So I gotta dive deep into it. I gotta watch it. But it definitely looks entertaining at least.
Yeah. I watched it and it dropped and I saw it and actually I was like, oh, let's see. And it actually was really good. It was funny and it was really connected. The action was great. Batista was a little bit slow on some things. You could tell his age, but it was really good. The chemistry was great. I really did. Really good. All right. Let's see what we got here. Billy T. York, he says, hey, Rob, hope all is well. What projects are you currently writing?
Cool. Yeah, I just finished writing my latest horror short. That's actually making the screenwriting festivals and contests now, and I'm starting to get some feedback on it. So that one right now is kind of like my immediate focus because it's one of those projects where it's like, you know, I try to write something that's like as not just as original as I can make it, not just for originality's sake, but just to do something a little different. I think everybody gets a sense that I love the horror genre, and there's so much for me to explore there. This one here, I'm actually really excited about. So I'm still getting feedback from readers of some of these contests, as well as some writers out there that I know. But then the other thing I'm also focusing on is I'm trying to set up so that I could film one of my older shorts that I've done. And I think if all goes well, you'll be hearing about that quite soon.
Yep, sounds great. All right, Dave, we talked about this. Peter G from North Bergen, New Jersey said, hey, Dave, hey, DC, when that watch came out, my father had it, and to be honest, it never worked great. And we're talking about that, right? The watch.
Yeah, I'm going to assume what he's talking about is the voice note. I wish I should have brought it over. voice note feature. So, in 1983, I mean, technology was what it was. So this was probably the first watch of its kind to be able to record a few seconds of whatever. And then a lot of the conjecture around why they chose it for Ghostbusters is because if we know the EVP, like the possible like voices that you might hear if you were a ghost hunter or whatever, and they kind of reference it in the 2016 movie, you could be able to record it with your watch. So like, does the feature work? Yes. What does it sound like when you actually play it back? Absolute garbage. It literally sounds like the teacher from the Peanuts. So unless you know what was recorded, all you hear are
All right.
Awesome.
so it because all the other functions works great. Like it obviously keeps good time. It has a stopwatch. Like all that stuff works perfectly fine. The coolest feature of it doesn't work that great.
100%. Doug E from PA says, do you think with streaming services evolving, the end of movie theaters will happen in the future? What do you think?
No, there's too many people like us. There's too many writers like Rob. There's too many artists that won't let that happen. Even if it comes down to doing things like what Kevin Smith did, right? Like he bought his own movie theater and just starts showing his own stuff. Like that's the way if that's the way it has to go in like a decade when like the three of us have our own theater, we just choose what we want to show. I'm fine. And then eventually it gets back to what it is. But I've seen so many people talk about, even though I bought this movie on Amazon no longer carries the movie. So like, cause their rights to the streaming rights are gone. So even though you paid for the ownership of it, you don't actually own anything. So I'm starting to see people try to going back to physical media for some of the bigger releases or the movies that they really want. I certainly miss the like the behind the scenes and the featurettes that you would get with the physical media. Like I was watching a bunch of stuff today on YouTube. So I don't really think I don't really think it's going to disappear because I love the 20 minutes of trailers. People can complain, but that's the best part of the movie.
Yeah, it's just you're never gonna replace the movie theater experience. There's just something about it, about going into the theaters to see it, a movie on a big screen. And it's not just like the aesthetics, the giant screen, the sound systems, and that sort of stuff. There, it's about actually hanging out with complete strangers, and you're all having an experience together. That's a big deal. I mean. I'll give you the most cheesiest of examples. This is prior to internet and stuff like that, prior to Avengers, whatever. But I think we talked about it maybe briefly. But the first Mortal Kombat movie that came out, okay? So, the thing that game, first of all, Mortal Kombat, the game that I think at that time was Mortal Kombat 2, was just going nuts. Everybody was just obsessed with this arcade game. Then they announced that a movie was coming out, and again, all you get is trailers. You don't know what's going to happen. All this stuff there. So fine. And I remember going opening night, packed house. Whitestone Cinemas in the Bronx, standing almost guys. People that snuck in, and the first thing that you hear is that Mortal Kombat, freestyle song, that electronic song, like the moment you heard Mortal Kombat and that song, the entire theater erupted. That kind of experience is like, I'll never forget it. That movie was not that great, but I remember that movie because opening night, I got to share an experience with people that I've never met before, and there's nothing like it. So as long as there's movies that could give you that kind of experience, the latest examples would be like Avengers and stuff like that. Avengers Endgame. I mean, people remember that kind of experience in those kind of movies. But as long as you have something like that to look forward to share with others, that's what going to the movies is all about. So no, I don't. Streaming services cannot replicate an experience like that.
Yep, 100%. All right. Hank P. from New Jersey says, "Great show, guys. Not sure if you watched Wonder Man, but it's not bad. Check it out." I have not seen Wonder Man, to be honest with you. I haven't. I wasn't really interested. Did you guys check it out at all? I don't know.
No, but I keep hearing the same thing, that it's actually pretty good.
That's what I heard too. So,
but I heard the same thing about Ironheart, and I got bamboozled. So I don't know.
I can tell you this much. I think I've gotten through 2 episodes, and so far it's kind of like a not what you think kind of deal.
Mm,
I just hope the rug doesn't get pulled on, from me at the end. But there's something about Ben Kingsley, that character, and the main character. They have a chemistry going. It's a really cool angle to it. But like I said, I got to finish it up. Hopefully, it doesn't, jump the shark at the end.
okay. Alfred T from New York. He says, guys, what happened to the days when seasons after a TV show happened in a reasonable time? Now we wait 2 to 3 years for a season. 2. Why? So I guess the
Because
timeline between seasons.
the industry is just different. There was back in the days of like Family Ties, Full House, Fresh Prince, like you had your TV actors and you had your movie actors. There really wasn't a lot of crossover.
Correct.
And I think when there was, you had like Reggie Johnson, right? He had 2 minutes of screen time in Ghostbusters. He had 25 to 30 minutes of screen time in Die Hard, but he never pulled him away from the TV show.
Yeah,
maybe Michael J. Fox was the only really good example of someone who was like crossing over the time between filming Back to the Future and
Family Ties.
Family Ties. But like when you were on a TV show, like that was your gig. You didn't film the TV show, then have 3 movies lined up, and then have to come back for the TV show. And I think back then you kind of knew in syndication, if you had a show that was good, you were most likely getting picked up at least for season 2 or 3. Whereas now you're on a Netflix show that has an amazing season 1. All of a sudden, like, we're just going to can it for season 2. So the industry is just so much different. Like Stranger Things is a great example. That show started out with a bunch of nobodies. Almost everyone turned into somebody, and they went out to do different projects. Then you have to wait till everyone's free again.
Yep, that's 100%. I think even Michael J. Fox, when he was filming Family Ties with Michael Jackson, he said like when he got offered the role for Back to the Future, Stoltz was originally cast for that, but they didn't want him. He couldn't do it. But he was filming that like 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning after he would film Family Ties.
He would literally film Back to the Future, maybe sleep in the car ride over to the Family Ties set, and then do a whole day on TV. Yeah.
He said it was almost impossible to do. He was like living on just like coffee or whatever it was. So, it's crazy. Totally different times, man. Totally different times, like you said. What do we got here? Okay, we got this Frank T from Hope, New Jersey. He says, hey, GB Dave, great video on the watch. As a huge Ghostbuster fan, I never even realized they wore a watch like that. These had to have been the first smart watches of the time. They probably were, right?
Yeah, like I said earlier, I think it was for what they call the EVP. I think it's the electro voice phenomenon. So when you would just hear things, that's the only thing that would like make sense why you would have a weird watch like that for these guys, and why only 3 out of the 4, like Winston never wore one because he wasn't technically a scientist at the time. So
I don't know.
Again, it's one of those things like even as big a fan as I am, I didn't know anything about this watch till earlier in the year.
Wow, that's pretty crazy, man.
And then as I'm watching the movie, you can see the clips I put in the video. I'm like, man, you can see this very clearly, and I just never paid attention to it.
Yeah, 100%. I was watching. I was like, I've never noticed. I've never noticed that too. I'd be watching. I'm like, I never noticed it. All the times I've watched Ghostbusters a million times, I've never noticed it. Crazy, unbelievable. All right, guys, we're gonna finish up with a little bit of trivia here, and then we'll wrap up. Again, we'll be on Rumble after this, and then Spotify and iTunes hopefully very shortly. All right, guys, here we go. All right, so I'll start off with let's see. I'll start with Dave. Ready? Here we go. I find your lack of faith disturbing. I find your lack of faith.
Is it a New Hope? I know it's Star Wars. I just don't know which. Is it A New Hope?
Yes.
Nice.
There we go. That's nice. There we go.
Points.
All right, here we go. Let's see. Rob, I love you 3000.
Oh,
That's nice. That's sweet.
That's Avengers. Avengers.
I was just telling you that. I just wanted to tell you.
No, I appreciate it. I feel the love.
Yeah, of course. All right, Dave. I'm not even supposed to be here today.
Clerks.
Great movie, obviously. Great movie. All right, Rob. Bring me Tong Po. I want Tong Po.
Oh, oh my God! Is that? That's not Bloodsport, is it?
You're close. You're on the right track. You're on the right track. You got the right person in there. Jean-Claude Van Damme. He's only made 2 really good movies. Bloodsport.
But they're like the same. It's like the same movie, though.
Close. Dave, you know it?
I was gonna say Best of the Best.
No, Kickboxer.
Oh, Kickboxer. That's right. That's right.
Kickboxer. Yes, it was close. All right. Let's see. This one might be a little bit hard, but let's see. Dave, let's see. All right. He says, bend over. Ben, nice to meet you. Victor Hugo. It's in a jail cell. He says, bend over. Bend over. And he says, Ben, nice to meet you. Victor Hugo. No.
Well, it definitely
Ben
sounds
over.
like something from Airplane or something, but I know it's probably not that.
It's Fletch. The movie Fletch. Remember Fletch? Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Oh my God! Wow.
Yeah.
That's a toughie.
Yeah, that was a little tough one. All right, Rob, you're saying there's a chance.
Oh, Dumb and Dumber.
Very good. Very good. All right, Dave.
At one point, I'm going to have to tell you guys a story of when I used that and it actually worked.
Really? Okay, we got to save that.
Oh yes. Put a pin in that one.
All right. All right, Dave. Ready? He chose poorly.
Last Crusade.
Very good. Mm-hmm. You got it. All right, Rob. That man is playing Gallica.
That's The Avengers, the first one. I love that scene.
Yep, it is. And all right, Dave. Last one is. Let's hear it for Sexual Chocolate. Sexual Chocolate.
Oh my God.
Yeah, is it South Park?
Sexual Chocolate.
Ugh.
It's South Park, the South Park movie, but I don't think it is.
No.
That was,
What is it, Rob?
it's Coming to America.
Sexual Chocolate. All right. So Dave, tell us the story about there. So you're saying there's a chance.
No, I got to tell you guys.
Yeah. Okay.
Nice.
All right.
Sorry, folks.
You got to wait. I guess we don't want to let you know. Okay. All right, guys. We will see you guys next week. Look for us on Rumble, and we'll be on Spotify and everything. So we'll talk to you guys next week, guys.
Good night.
All right, good night.
Started from nothing. Jersey streets, we owned it. Jay-Z pumping iron. Body builder coding. Years on the